I'm going to fabricate some parts to fix 3 exhausts. Well, today I'm going to repair this exhaust muffler. It's got the end blown out of it, and it happened to have the end still floating around in the storage box behind the seat. So that gives me an indication of the length of tube that goes in there. And I've found another piece, that diameter, I think it's 1.25 or 1.25 bananas. I think tube sizes typically are banana sizes rather than metric. I've got a piece of tube there to do that, to make one. I've also found that piece of galvanised tube, because the plan is to make 3 kits for fixing exhausts. My second Koorlong quad bike, the blue one, has probably got a fucked exhaust as well. So I've knocked out 3 of these end plates using my jig for punching. I make a round disc and then I put that lip on the side of it pressing it into punch and die effect. I've made 3 of those. You're making one, you may as well make more, because it doesn't take much longer when you've got all the tooling out ready to go. The next stage with those discs is to punch put a similar lip on the inside so that there's something to weld to. It's interesting, the original's got the lip pushed inside. I've tended to push the lip outside and then TIG weld the ends of the pipes together, which is probably what I'm going to do again. Using that tapered punch, I can set, once I've got the hole in these roughly the size, I can press that in to the centre of that bearing, and it will put that flange similar to the outside on the inside. When I'm going to open up those the inner holes on the disc, I'm going to do that in the lathe, then punch that flange on the inside. I'm going to cut 3 pieces of tube that length. This is rotted out right down to this level, and then the pipe inside, the larger pipe that's inside there, which you'll see later, is also broken off. This one's got holes in it here as well. So this is going to be cut right back here, and so new outer, about that long, made out of that bit of rusty sheet there, will be made up to replace that outer tube. Okay, that's these end plates fabricated with the lip on the middle, lip on the outside. The lip on the middle is a neat fit on those centre pipes. With 3 centre pipes cut 80mm long. That's the punch I use for doing the centre flange, and we're ready to go further with this. This is going to be TIG welded around that edge just without a filler stick. I think it'll just melt the 2 pieces together because of the tight fit. Well, I have welded those up in galvanised material. I picked up the best one there. Got a nice rim around the outside weld. That's the worst one. That's the in-between one. I think this was the middle one I made. It's only got a few spots down the seam there so far, and it's the dreaded white stuff inside there that welding galvanised got to be careful of. Linished up a bit and wire brushed a bit. The end of that one in particular looks pretty good. They are to replace those ends. I've made 3 of them because I've got another bike, the blue one, which I haven't really even looked at, but I assume the exhaust's fucked on it as well. When you're tooled up to make these things, you may as well takes X time to make one and X and a half to make 3, I think. My next step is to cut this off. I think I'll pick a point, the last of the holes in it is right down here. So somewhere about 20 millimeters above the end there, I'll cut it off. There's a piece floating around inside there, which I will fish out and work out what to do with it when I get in there. Okay, I just cut that much off there. Used a bit of race tape as a line. That's one of the new pieces I've made. It's too long at the moment. Can be cut down to just match that length. The impeller or diffuser is in place and looks to be in reasonable nick. This piece was floating around inside. Now it's got a flange on it just there. Trying to work out where it actually is positioned. There's a piece of that's probably a good indication there. That's a piece of folded metal there that probably 20 millimeters back from my cut. I don't know, it doesn't look like that went all the way around. That piece is something that I can weld into my new piece. I can go looking for a bit of pipe about that length to mount back in there. Looks like it might mount sort of down in that sort of position. I've just lost my lighting because I haven't been moving. I'll move a bit, it'll come back on. So something like that. I'm not going to get that done today. Looks like I've got another day pissing around with this. I've used the TIG welder so far. I'm useless with the filler rod. Probably finish off with the MIG welder. Get out to your shed and have some fun.